Oh, hold on, I gotta adjust some volumes. I can already tell the music's a little loud. Maybe let's try about there-ish. You folks let me know if this is better or worse. Hopefully it's better. Just gonna be working on getting everything all set up. Been a little bit since I last streamed, so I had to adjust some volumes last time, so not quite sure if they're dialed in yet. Alrighty, well, today we're going to do something a little bit different than I have in the past. I mean, it's still plugin development, but this time I'm actually going to work on a new plugin that I have not even started yet, and it's going to be where people will be able to pick their difficulty in game. Basically, I wanted a system where players had a little bit more freedom over their play experience. So, prompt that I provided to ChatGPT is I want to make a new simple plugin that allows players to pick their own difficulty. It's going to have a GUI that supports both Java and Bedrock players via Geyser. The plugin only manipulates two things. One, how long until the items despawn and how much of a grace period there is that's in playtime when they first join, in which they are invincible. They will have several choices. Normal, which is vanilla standards. Easy, with a 10-minute despawn timer and 6-hour grace period. Very easy, which is a 30-minute despawn timer and a 24-hour grace period. Hard, which is a 2-minute despawn timer and no grace period. And then hardcore, items dropped on the ground despawn in 30 seconds. Let's make the timers and the grace periods configurable so that the server owner can, make their own choices. We're going to make all the messages and the styling configurable. They're going to be able to, the server owners can be able to pick exactly how the GUI looks, down to the colors, the wording, and even the icons. And the goal is this is going to be shown to all of you guys after you accept the rules. So very first thing, as soon as you join the server, you'll accept the rules. And then the very next thing is going to be pick your difficulty. And it's going to be smart enough to know that if you've already accepted the rules, then it'll just go straight to showing you how to pick your difficulty. I want to make it so that you can change this at any time, but if you've never picked your difficulty once, it'll get shown to you the very next time you come in and play on the server. So that is the prompt given to ChatGPT, and I'm saying, okay, let's build it from the ground up. So it suggested a name, pick your difficulty. It just reiterates the core functionality, just trying to show me that it understood my request. Basically, each difficulty preset adjusts. Item despawn time, how long dropped items stay before vanishing, and the grace period duration in playtime after first join where the player is invincible. So it gives me kind of this skeleton. All these values should be configurable via config, which is correct. And then the GUI menu is going to open after you accept the rule agreement. It's fully customizable, the slot layout, the icons, the names, the lore, colors, symbols, you name it. And it must support Bedrock and Java players. It's telling me that it's going to remember that I want it to track basically storing each player's difficulty choice, the amount of playtime they have so that it knows when to expire that grace period, and that it's going to be persistent storage, so if the server restarts or if there's a crash, it's going to be able to pick back up where it left off. And then for the gameplay modifiers, it's basically listening for when an item is dropped on the ground, or if it's going to trigger a despawn event, and then it's going to cancel that, and then give it its own new despawn timer. It's also going to cancel damage to players during the grace period, and it's going to enforce it on a per player basis. So everyone's going to have their own ability to pick for themselves how they want to play the game. So it's giving me some examples as far as a config, and then talks about how we're going to plan on integrating it into the plugin called Accept the Rules, which is going to be that trigger for when the GUI gets shown to you. So it's going to check if the player has already chosen a difficulty. Yes, okay, great. If not, show you the GUI, let you pick. So I'm just going to feed it a little bit of information. Could this accidentally give players access to the commands that control those? Not sure what you mean, Bacon. It's all going to be GUI based. So they're not actually going to be entering any commands in. The commands are kind of all handled behind the scenes. So it's more like the console is issuing the command on behalf of the player, and not that the player actually even needs permissions. If that makes sense to you. Hopefully that did. Okay. So I'm just going to feed it an example of kind of the styling that I like for a config. And that way, when it suggests this config style, it's going to match it to kind of what I already like. So I'm going to basically show it, hold on, here. I'm going to show it an example. Let me show you an example config.yml so you can match the style I like. Okay. So this is the Void Monster plugin that I've been working on. And this is the insanely detailed config. We're not going to go quite to that depth on this one, but it'll at least give it an idea. The clarity, structure, and inline comments in your config are excellent, and I'll match that exactly in your pick the difficulty plugin. Next step, config.yml proposal. Here's a full structured config.yml that mirrors your Void Monster style and supports the difficulty presets, item despawn timer, grace periods, GUI layout, and full message customization. Perfect. Okay, so it talks about automatically opening after the rules. Turn that on and off. Difficulties, normal, easy, very easy, hard, hardcore. Grace mode, whether or not we're even going to allow it. Show reminder, notify players when grace is active or expiring. Bypass damage types. Optional, specifies damage cost to ignore. Okay, cool. GUI, how many rows, fill empty, filler material, messages. This is pretty good. It even thought of some additional things that I didn't think about. And that's kind of the beauty of AI. It's like it's taking the general idea of what I have, and then I'm giving it some kind of feedback as far as the idea of what I'm going for, and then it helps kind of flush out that idea and make it a more fully feature-rich concept. Okay. I like this, but we need to build out the plugin structure first. If I can spell today. By the way, I'm going to adjust the volume of the music just a little bit. It's still a little loud for me. I don't know how it's like for you guys. So maybe it's fine, but it's a little distracting for me. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we have our source, we have our main, inside main, new package. I think that's what I think it's package that I want. Hold on. I've only done this once before. Yes, no, maybe so. File? Best? Nope, that's definitely not right. Delete. Yep. I don't think this is even right. Delete you. Okay. Bear with me here. Source. Is this right? Bacon, do you know if I'm doing this right? Is new package correct? feel like you know IntelliJ better than I do. I think it's right. Oh, didn't like that. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on. How do I make this file structure? Where the heck is delete? Delete. This can't be right. I just want to make, hold on, structure? Collapse all. New file directory? Package has gotta be right. What's wrong? I heard my name, but I was lurking a bit. Oh, Bacon. I've only set up the file structure on IntelliJ like once before, and I'm like, okay, I need to set up the structure, source, main, Java, so on and so forth. I'm clicking on source, and I'm clicking new, and I clicked package, but that seems wrong to me. I'm like, is this right? I've only done this once before. I mean, I could ask AI, but I was just curious if you knew. It's like source and then Java, that just doesn't seem right. Hold on, let's delete this. Like new, it's not a file. Is package just the terminology IntelliJ uses for like folder? See, like, why is it doing that? Put a folder inside main and call it Java. Don't rename main.java. New package Java. I put that inside main? No, it doesn't like that. Like, what am I doing wrong? So confused. Hold on. How do I build? I click source and chose new package, but that seems wrong. File new project. But are you kidding me? Okay, fine, I'll do it that way. That's annoying. All right, delete you. Let's start over. File, new. Yeah, I was looking for directory. That's just what made sense to me. Maybe because I chose IntelliJ instead of Maven as my build system, it got confused. I bet that's where I went wrong. Yep, 21. I want that. I'm just trying to build out the structure, Dragon, and it's been a hot minute since I had to do this last time, and I was like, how do I do this? This window's fine. Okay, yeah, this looks like more like what I would expect. Source, Java, resources, Yep. Okay. That's more like it. Okay. I'm going to reference my other one since it's been a minute. Where did that screen go? Come on. I want you. Yeah. Okay. Let's compare and contrast. Okay. So rename you. Pick your difficulty. Did I spell that right? That's right. Okay. And then currently org sure and resources. I want a new file. Config.yml and under resources, another new file. Plugin.yml. I know I'll need these eventually, so I'm just putting them in here. Okay. All right. I think that puts me in a decent spot. What is test? What are you all about? Not sure. That's confusing me. Oh. Okay. All right. Moving on. Okay. Here is. Where is that? This guy. Okay. I am gonna think this through a little bit more. The config is really the time to really, at least in my opinion, think through all the functionality you want, because it kind of determines how the rest of the plugin is gonna go. So it gave me a really good framework to work off of, and then this is basically the opportunity to say, is there anything I might be missing? Anything I haven't thought of? Let's see, determine how the plugin behaves globally, open GUI automatically after it set the rules. For the config.yml, let's also add an option to automatically open the GUI if a player has never selected a difficulty before. So the dependency on accept the rules is optional. Okay. Auto open if unchosen. Let's do that. Each entry defines a selectable difficulty mode, normal, despawn seconds, grace period, icon, material, pick the name, pick the lore. Under the difficulty section, we should, for each difficulty, ask the server owner to pick a slot number with a helpful tip that slot numbers start at 0 and not 1. There we go. That's better. So this is just, I like to add these little tips because I don't know what level of expertise, if you will, the server owner who might be potentially using these plugins are. And so adding these little tips to just make their lives a little bit easier, I want to do it for myself, but I also think it's nice for the next person who's going to be using it. So if you don't know that the first slot number is 0 because bucket is kind of weird like that, you would just go, oh, well, wouldn't that be slot 1? Nope. So if you don't think about that, then that can be a little bit confusing. So, and I even need to modify this because this is also confusing. Second row doesn't start at 9. Second row starts at 10. Or sorry, no, it does start at 9. Just kidding. It's 0 through 8, then 9 through whatever. So we'll build out like a full kind of like key here. Okay. And then the slot 11. And granted, we can customize this all day long. 13. What did I mess up? Very easy is 12. Oh, it's actually saying this will be 14. Huh. Okay. Well, we can simulate this in game. GUI. Here's the title. Here's the rows. We're going to fill all the empty with the filler material if we want. We should make a option where the server owner decides if you can only pick your difficulty once and it's locked in forever, or if players can change their difficulty and how often they are allowed to change it. Let's add this section in. Let's build out this key example to show a full 54 slot inventory. Yep, I like that a lot better. Let's just actually grab just this section. We don't need all this extra space. A little excessive. There we go. Well, it's a little nicer. I do say so myself. Okay. And Let's move this over. Let's line these up so they look a little nicer. I don't think we need that many spaces left. Okay. These in by a couple. And I'm just kind of using my cursor to scroll down, and then when it hits and goes straight through the middle, I'm like, ah, yes, they're lined up. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell. And I know this is nitpicky, but I like it to look nice. That's right. Okay. Let's see. Difficulty settings, locked once. Lots once chosen, allow rechoose, cooldown seconds, require confirmation. Okay. Should the confirmation be in chat or in another GUI? Confirmation. Clickable message, super light, fast to implement, works well even for Bedrock players. Players confirm by clicking that, start typing, difficulty confirmed, doesn't flow within the GUI. Less visually immersive than in GUI, might get lost in busy chat environments. Players can misclick or ignore it. Pros to a confirmation is secondary, clean immersive experience. Players are still inside the GUI. Easy to highlight the consequences visually. One-time choice in red, more polished, feels more for serious service. Blah. Yeah. Let's add a second GUI for confirmation and make a full flushed out config section for it. So yeah, right now we're still in the like game design. We haven't even begun any of the like actual build out of the code. This is just trying to fully flush out the idea so that when we do go to build the code, that we know what all needs to be created. This choice may be permanent. Let's make this GUI dynamic. Dynamic based on if the server selected the option to lock in once chosen or not. Is there a way to do this without having to repeat ourselves? I think okay. Yeah, this is actually not too bad. Overrides, optional overrides for permanent mode. Buttons, info banner. This choice is permanent. You've selected difficulty. Click confirm to lock it in. This cannot be changed later. Click to confirm. Verse is. Confirm your difficulty. Confirm or cancel. Confirm your choice. This choice may be permanent. If. Why are we saying this choice may be permanent if the mode is not locked? Okay, let's take this whole section. The presets, grace period, GUI settings. Put it under that. And we're going to update the info banner. More. Oops. Okay. This choice is permanent. You've selected. Click confirm to lock it in. There's the cancel button. Turn to selector. Okay. I like this. Anything else you guys can think of? Anything I might have missed? Oh, let's add a tip to the server owner, letting them know about how to set the wording by a mini message. Let's give some examples and then link to the full wiki documentation. This is good, but we should also make a note about needing to use proper opening and closing. Yeah, that's great. We'll put that down in the message section. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Let's clean it up a little. Yeah. Prefets. Use the prefets below. Difficult. Declare selected difficulty. Full name message guide. Closing tag. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Like that. Any other features of that we want to include? No. Let's ask ChatGPT what it thinks. Admin overrides. Yep. Permission nodes per difficulty. Yeah, but we'll get to that later. Welcome message. Huh. I kind of like that. That's fun. Sure. Is supported. I don't know if I want to get into the tab list. Modifying that. That seems do we want to get into stuff like starting kit? Is that kind of going beyond the scope of what we're trying to do here? Hmm. I like the admin overrides. I also like the permission nodes for difficulty, but that seems like belongs in plugin.yml. I also like the welcome messages based on difficulty. I'm not sure if the starter kits is within scope. Let's think on that one a bit more. And I do like the idea of hooking in optionally to placeholder API. Let's go with that. Okay. Right now we are just focused fully flushing out the config.yml before we move on. Cool, like that. Also up the minimum tip block to include these placeholders. Yeah, little placeholders, prefix, difficulty, despawn time, and grace time. Yep. Placeholder API support. Let's do that too. I feel like that belongs down here. Yeah. Um, let's add a message for players about when they can next change their difficulty if a cooldown has been specified or selected by the server owner. Cooldown wait. Okay. Yep, I like that. Oops. Got the indentation wrong. There we go. Time. Yep, that'd be another placeholder. Race time remaining. Cooldown time remaining. Let's change the time placeholder to cool down time. Yep, that's better. Line these up so they look a little nicer as well. Okay. And this cooldown weight needs to be updated. Which was, here we go. The time, this becomes cooldown time. Okay. Anything else we might to add to the config outline? Oh, yep, sound effects could be good. Global fallback. Support replacing despawn time inside the force UI open on every join. Slides. Yeah, these are all good. Let's add them. Yes, please post the full updated config.yml. Excuse me. Yep, made sense to add that there. Difficulty settings, reaches, cooldown seconds, information. There's our difficulties themselves. Down to the icons, the name of the lore. Very small. For bypass, let's add a helpful tip. So the server owners, all the different types they can pick from. Experience mechanics, GUI settings. There's our title. That's 20 rows. Whether or not we want to fill. Confirmation GUI. Out. So that's good. Cancel. Override. Sound effects. Yep. I like that. Plugin integration settings. Let's do developer mode. Put that all the way down here in debug. Okay, message and mini. Yep, we got all that. Refetch, GUI open, grace period. Welcome. Yep. I would put Welcome before help. Sure. Makes sense. Makes logical sense. And then debug mode. Okay. I want to add this little extra note. Yep. Here. Let's just make sure it's not hallucinating these links. So actually check them out for ourselves. Because they can be wrong. Cleaning this up real quick. This is actually the correct link. Let's find out. It does. Yeah, there you go. There's all our different types. So yeah, that's a good link. Let's find out if it got a good link for mini message. Yeah, this looks like a slightly better link, so let's do that. Okay. Is better. Give me one sec here, folks. Gotta figure out how to do this. One sec here. Wait. Oh, I see this. Ah, okay. Looks like someone trying to promote. All right, that's what was going on. What am I seeing here? Okay. Perfect. Yeah, maybe we do something for the sounds as well. Do a similar note for the sound options. Let's check if that link is actually valid. I think it is. It looks right. Yeah. It's good. Great. Here is the current config.yml. Anything else we are missing? Do we go with starter kits? Does that seem like something that would fit under this scope? What do you guys think? I mean, this is kind of a player's setting up their experience, so maybe starter kits make sense. It's just like hesitancy to do that. B, there's already lots of plugins out there that probably are already managing starter kits, so maybe it feels like unnecessary. Or, I mean, I would make it obviously an option, but it's just, do I want to take the time to build that into the plugin when there's probably the server owner's already going to be using something else for starter kits anyway? I don't know. What is the, like, server is already using their plugin for starter kits? Seems like a lot of effort to build that into this plugin. Essentials for kids, kit adder, easy kit. Your plugin's core focus, yours is difficulty, customization, and delivery. You support difficult commands which can run /kit or /give. What servers are use /kit via commands instead of filling it full? Just support this. Ah, I like that. To just run commands once a diff is selected. Make a note to the server owners about how they could use this to give kits. Yeah. I think that makes sense. Oops. You. Option run on more commands. Difficulty commands. Ouch. Huh. Do this near your difficulty section or below in its new header block. Let's make it its own section instead of including it within difficulty presets. I'm not really loving how that's looking. Let's, yeah. Let's give examples that are more message Send to the player, and the other a broadcast message sent to the server. Yeah, I like this better. Let's take a look at these examples. Run custom commands when a player selects a difficulty. This section is optional, applies globally per difficulty key. Tip uses to give kits and messages, apply effects, or run scripts. These can simulate starter kits by hooking into other players. Placeholder player and difficulty select. All commands are run by console unless specified otherwise. You selected normal. Play as much as intended. Player has chosen the normal difficulty. You select easy. Enjoy the relaxed pace. Let's take an easy route. Welcome to very easy, peaceful and slow. Very gentle journey and very easy. Great choice. Hard mode won't show mercy. It's ready to survive in hard mode. Wish them luck. Yeah, I kind of like that. That works. Distinguish between okay. Careful, let's also do that. We need to update the difficulty section to reflect this. Console by default. Okay, I think that's pretty well flushed out. I honestly can't think of anything else that I'd want to include. This feels very feature rich and should make for a very nice server owner and player experience. Just lining these up so it looks a little nicer. Unnecessary, but I think it looks just that much neater. And then let's line these up again. Still a little off. Yep. That looks nice. I think it's here. A little hard to eyeball. There we go. Nice. Benny Daron. Welcome. I don't know who this is. Are you a player from Minehouse? Ah, okay. Nap and snack. Nice to have you join us. I don't know how much of the stream you've caught so far, but basically all we've done so far is just really try to think of as much game design as possible. Sounds like it's going to be a one-day project. I mean, I made my life difficult. Look at all these features that I want to add. Don't know if it's going to be a one-day project. I could have called it I could have made it really simple, but that's just not my style. All good, Nap and Snack. I'm glad to have you join us. As I was saying, I don't know how much of the stream you caught, but basically so far all we've focused on is just really trying to flush out the full game design. Think about all the different ways that we would want the player or the server owner to interact, and to come up with the most comprehensive list of features, because this is really going to set the tone for the entire rest of the plugin. If we can be as thoughtful and comprehensive with the config, that's going to let us kind of know what to work on to actually flush out all the features of the plugin. Have I asked ChatGPT to make me a schedule for the project? I haven't. More realistically, it's just going to be whenever the motivation hits. I don't know if I could stick to a schedule. But for anyone who is, I mean, I'm guessing most of you have been watching the progress so far, but I'm just going to read through what we have so far, and I'd love to see if you guys have any feedback on what you might want to see changed, or if this looks good to you, if there's any ideas that you have, because I like to say I do not have a monopoly on good ideas, so if you think something should be changed or modified, please let me know. So this is, again, pick your difficulty plugin. It's going to let the players choose their personal challenge and experience. The very first section is general settings, where we have a toggle to auto open after the rules. So we're going to have an option to hook into accept the rules. And if after you've accepted the rules, it's just going to automatically open this GUI, which is then going to let you pick your difficulty. We also have an option to auto open if unchosen. So if the server owner isn't hooking in to accept the rules, that's not required. It'll just understand that a player has never chosen their difficulty when they join the server, and it'll just auto open the GUI. And if they have no difficulty selected, and if for some reason there's some sort of config data that gets corrupted, we have a fallback. Just default people to normal if for some reason something breaks. Then we have our difficulty section rules. So this is where the server owner has some control on how they want the plugin to be interacted with. So we can let them lock it. Once you choose a difficulty, you're locked in. You may not change it. We can allow for rechoosing, and how long of a cooldown between when you can choose again, and if we should require a confirmation. So if you pick a selection, should you be required to confirm it? If not, it's just going to apply immediately. Then we have our difficulty presets. So this is going to define each little section of what the difficulties are. And then there's this handy little tip for the server owners so they understand how the GUI slots start at 0. That can be an easy trip up for people when they're new to working with GUIs. So this is just a key that kind of shows them exactly you know, oh, I want this one to be slot 20 and I want that one to be slot 24. You know, they can kind of help mentally make a map of where they want stuff to be. So under each difficulty, they're going to choose a slot. The despawn time, which is how long items will stay on the ground for. The grace period of how long you're invincible when you first start the server. They're going to choose an icon material, the name, and the lore. They're going to do that for each difficulty. We give them already like suggested presets, but all of this is completely configurable. And then we have per difficulty commands. This is where the server owner could choose to run some commands once a difficulty is chosen. And there's some little helpful tips for the server owner so they understand how to interact with that section. And then we have grace period mechanics. Whether we want grace periods at all, we can just turn that off. Show reminders to the players. Notify when the grace period is active or expiring. I am going to add one note here. Let's add a config option for how often to remind the player, or how often to show the reminder to players about their remaining grace period. Should it be in set intervals? Maybe every time they log in. Yeah. Notation's wrong, so it's going to get upset about that. Okay, reminder display modes. On login, show once when a player joins, is still under grace period. Interval repeats every 8 seconds while grace is active. Both combines both modes. Okay, often to repeat reminder in seconds, only if interval is used. 300 seconds, that's every, what, 5 minutes? That seems excessive. Let's do maybe every 30 minutes. 30 minutes and seconds. 200. There we go. Then the types of damage that you're going to bypass if you have a grace period. Then we have the GUI itself. So there'll be a title, how many rows we want in that GUI. So you don't have to have a full 6-row GUI. You could just do these like first 3 and ignore this whole second half. So it'll make it a little bit smaller. Maybe they want that, and that's what we're going to default to, is just 3 rows. We're going to fill all the empty unused slots with a placeholder. That by default is just going to be gray stained glass, but they can feel free to change it if they like. And we can add name, we can choose lore, all that kind of good stuff. And then we'll have a confirmation GUI if confirmation has even been enabled to require confirmation. I think this can be cleaned up a little bit. I see we have this, but earlier we already had the server owner pick if they wanted to require confirmation. Or not. This feels redundant. Yeah, we don't need you. Okay. Confirmation GUI, we have a title, have rows again, whether or not fill empty, what we should fill the empties with, and then whether or not we want to have an info banner, and confirm shows this will change later. You selected blank, confirm or cancel below. Then we have a confirm and a cancel. And then if they cancel, it'll return them back to the selector. And then if it is in permanent mode, we have an override, which is saying, yep, this is permanent. This choice is permanent. You selected blank. Click confirm to lock in. Then they're going to have a confirm option. This cannot be changed later. Click to confirm. We even have some sounds. So what happens when they open the GUI? What happens when they click confirm? What happens when they click cancel? And whether or not not sure what the cooldown tonight is for. What is this sound for? I think it made this up. So change their difficulty, but it's still under cooldown. Ah. Okay. Do we just not open the GUI if they are still under cooldown and we send them that message chat instead? Okay, let's remember that and to play the denied sound. A grand plugin this requires a grand amount of testing, does it not? Yes, it will. It will require an enormous amount of testing. That is a future RZOR problem that I'm ignoring right now. Okay, let's remember that and to play the denied sound if they try to open the GUI. Should we rename this sound to make it clearer? Well, just know you have a free tester. I appreciate it, Vic, and I will probably take you up on that. Yeah, like, let's do this instead. Okay, then we have plugin integration, whether we want to integrate with Accept the Rules or Geyser. Then we have placeholder API support, whether or not we're going to register placeholders or even hook into placeholder API if present. What that's going to do is allow the server owners to actually like use the placeholders maybe in a tab list or in a message somewhere, maybe in a scoreboard. The sky's the limit. Under register placeholders should let's list all the placeholders we are going to make available. Don't like that. Okay. And then our mini message, this is where we give some suggestions to the server owners about how they can interface with the messages and give them some helpful tips about how to properly set this up. And I'm just cleaning up the formatting here, wanting to make this consistent all these little helpful tips I'm going to put in by 2 spaces. And then we have a debug mode and we have a developer mode. So this will be just for testing. I can make it so it always shows the GUI. Because otherwise that's going to be kind of a pain to constantly be resetting my account as if I'm a brand new player. Other than that, I mean, I feel like this is pretty feature rich, but by all means, more heads are better than one. So if you guys have any suggestions, now would be the time to let me know. I'm just going to be kind of plugging away here, cleaning this up, and I'll be paying attention to chat. Just indenting each of these by 2 spaces. I want this to be not only as functional as possible, as helpful as possible, but also as nice looking as possible. Oops. Wrong button. Almost there. Will this work for Bedrock over crossplay? Yeah, from the very beginning, that was built into the initial prompt for the very first thing we asked ChatGPT is, hey, make sure that this is going to be compatible for both Java and Bedrock players. I'll just say, just to confirm, this is going to be 100% compatible with both Java and Bedrock players, correct? We did integrations. Did we have Geyser support? Yeah, we do. Adjust GUI behavior for Bedrock users via Geyser. And then the nice thing is mini message supports both Java and Bedrock, so we don't have to worry about that. Though hover and click effects may not always render on Bedrock. Sounds work if Geyser translate them. Let's add a note to the server owner about how if they have Bedrock support enabled, they need to be wise in their choices of sounds and hover/click events. Okay. I think that'll be a nice little tip for the server owner. Yeah, let's maybe we don't. Is there a better way to let server owner know which sounds will or will not work? Still seems a bit vague. still a little unsure what makes a sound compatible with Bedrock or not. Is it just one of those you have to know and memorize kind of things? Geyser doesn't know how to translate a sound, it silently fails. No sound is heard on Bedrock. The mapping is hard-coded into as compatible. Tyler's know there's perfect auto check. It's trial and error unless check the Geyser mappings, get up our wiki, use a safe tested list like we provided. Can we provide a safe list and overwrite options and a link to the Geyser GitHub page? Yeah, I think this makes more sense to put under the sounds. That would not support all Java sound names, stick to commonly used UI. Sounds for cross-platform, no Bedrock safe, full list of. Cool. That's better. And then let's actually check. This is a valid link because it loves to make up its own. Yep, page not found. Of course. Resource. This is not a valid link. Please try again. See? This is why we check. I don't want to point people to a link that isn't actually real. What? I don't even think this is real. Oh, no way. That actually is real. That is a real link. Holy cow. Good job. Just told it to try again and it actually got it. I did not think it was actually going to make a real link. Well, that's cool. There's a ton that aren't real, though. Like, yeah, armadillo. Wow, this is kind of fascinating. I've never actually seen this before. But yeah, there's a lot that aren't compatible. So, okay. Let's add some comments to the lines that are missing here, similar to the one that already has a comment. There. you doing there? And play with me difficult energy. I hope it's okay. Okay. This feels pretty complete to me. Okay. Here's our full config of YML. Now, any additional things we might want to add? Override worlds is not a bad idea. Just link it to where, like, nope, this is the set for this entire world. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. I like one. Don't care about those. 4, 6, and 7. Let's add those. Race modes. Okay. Goes on selection. The GUI. Doesn't seem quite right to put it here. Go to general. Auto open if unchosen. Which or where to place this? Add a new section near the bottom. Missions. That feels like that belongs somewhere around. Maybe permissions and then messages. This needs a slightly different header. Yeah. Oh no. It just didn't stand out to me for some reason. Okay, this looks good. Let's actually place this here. Okay, cooldown. That's just below the cooldown. Wait, message, placeholder, selection. I actually like this better up here. Cooldown seconds. Cooldown. Do I like it better up there? No, don't. I changed my mind. Goodness. Is it jumping around like that? Didn't want it to do that. What did I click? So I'm not sold on where to place this. Okay, if you say so. GUI. I don't know, for some reason that just didn't feel intuitive to me. Allow recharge cooldown seconds. Okay, yeah, I did think it made more sense up here. Speaking, did you check out what I found early on? Did you check out what I found earlier? I saw a message about it, but it sounded like you figured it out, so I didn't look any further into it. And then you said something about it being a server setting, but then there was a way for you to fix it on the client side. I kind of just glanced at it. I don't think I fully understood what you were referring to. I apologize. Feel free to explain more here, because I must have missed some context. Oh, the loading square when you switch things on your hotbar. Oh, it's like it's loading a resource pack? That's how the loading thing usually is. If I'm understanding it right, that's usually when I see like a loading screen is when it thinks you're loading a resource pack. And if it's a black box that shows up and then like 5 tiny squares that light up, does that look like it's a loading bar? Is this new with the latest 1.21.6 with the vibrant visuals, maybe? Happens every time you scroll on the hotbar, which is constantly. Really? Huh. I'd have to see like a video or a picture of this because I don't play on Bedrock, so I've never experienced this. This must be new. And I'm guessing it got added with the vibrant visuals. It had to have. Yeah, it came with the update. How strange. Sorry, I'm trying to find my screen here. Okay, sorry. That was a little bit sporadic. Okay, I just wanted to update some settings here so I can hear the pings a little bit easier. You guys chat. Yeah, if you guys have a picture or a little video clip, that'd be helpful. Because I can try to see if there's like a setting that I need to just update for the server. That's interesting. Very interesting. Sure, yeah. I mean, feel free. I mean, no rush on any of that. But yeah, if you want to send something to me on Discord, that'd be helpful. Okay. Um, I I honestly can't think of anything else that we'd want to add. This feels very feature rich to me. Okay, this is now most current config.yml. It's the title text bar. You can configure it in Geyser. Really? Okay. Please hold. I'm gonna look at this right now. Show cooldown. Allow a fake cooldown indicator to be sent. Bedrock players otherwise do not see a cooldown as they still use one bot 8. Oh, it's for combat. Oh, this is supposed to be to mimic the cooldown of when you can swing your sword. It has nothing to do with scrolling. Fascinating. Yeah, if you disable the show cooldown bots, it disappears. Sure. I didn't realize that was annoying or that was even a thing. So yeah, I'll just switch it to false. That's easy enough. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Huh. Well, now I know. Okay. The change won't go into effect until the whole server is restarted because it's applied on the proxy side. So I don't like to reset the proxy very often just because it kicks literally everyone off the entire server. I can't even send you guys to like the world hub. So as much as possible, I try not to do that. Okay. Moving on, I think. I think this is a very, very fully fleshed out, feature-rich config. I'm pretty happy with it. I think this is a really good launching point, and if we happen to come up with anything in the future, then you can always add it in a future update. Where can I send the clip? I just accepted your friend's request on Discord, so you should be able to send it to me there. Just can hide the bots, the loading bar, setting the text back. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm happy to make the change. Didn't even know it needed to be made, so that's how we make things better. You guys let me know. Oh, I accidentally wrote all this in plugin.yml, so we actually want this all in config.yml, not plugin.yml. Okay. Okay. Now that we have a very well built config.yml, let's make the plugin.yml to match. It really hates this. It thinks it's a constant typo. So just to get rid of that, settings, and let's do typo, grammar style, spelling. Accepted words. Here we go. Now it's not going to constantly flag that. At least it shouldn't. Maybe it is. Maybe I didn't do that right. Hold on. Make your difficulty apply. Okay, there we go. Now it's going to not constantly scream at me that I'm doing this wrong. Depend on evolved. Why are we saying depend on vault? We don't use any form of currency tie-in. Yeah, weirdo. Why? Stupid AI. Like, what the heck are you talking about? Okay, give access. So this is the commands. This key. That's weird. Difficulty. Hey. Case mission is the plugin. Default to true. Let's place it up with default. Difficulty UI, that's true. Let's place to view their current difficulty. Yeah, allows reloading. Config. Allows that. which is force set and reset. While pressing the cooldown when changing difficulties. While changing difficulties even if locked. Yeah. Okay. Let us. I just want to compare this to the plugin.yml for Void Monster. Let's style it like this. That's much better. For metadata and command registration. Oh, that's annoying that those don't line up. Recommended. Better support. Auto handles detected. We are building against Java 21, so and for Minecraft 1.21. So those requirements, I believe, are incorrect. Yep. That's more accurate. Okay. This should be API version 1.21. Constantly complaining that I don't know how to spell my own name. Okay. Players choose their own game mode difficulty with a GUI that adjusts item despawn time and first join grace periods. Fully Bedrock compatible. Command for default info. Set. Okay. That's access to all admin commands. Allows use of difficulty reload. Allows use of difficulty info, difficulty UI, difficulty set. Let's have them. Start the This is better. Permission for selecting normal difficulty, permission for selecting easy. We should make a wild card permission for the ability to select all difficulties. Transformation, select all available difficulties, default true. So if the wild card is default true, do we need all the individual difficulties selection permissions also to be default true? I don't think we do. I'm not sure for support. Yeah, this is better. Did I do something wrong? Something it doesn't like. Hold on. So this looks fine. Why is it upset about this? Oh, I must have gotten some sort of... Oh, I did. That's why. I indented this, and it shouldn't have been indented. Okay. Does this look correct? Personal improvements, group difficulty from rounds, official. Yes, let's add those improvements. Okay. But literally only added that one banner. Sure. I don't know if I like that. Seems a little weird. And then this just alphabetizes this. Yeah, it's slightly nicer to look at. Okay. I don't know. I've never done metrics. Do I care about that? Probably not. I'm gonna pause just a second here. I want to look at this little clip that Nap and Snack sent me. Oh, how weird. Oh, that's really obnoxious and distracting. Okay. I can totally understand why you are like, hey, this sucks. Okay. Yeah. I'll reload the whole proxy and then that should, if I understand it correctly, should go away. Okay. On that note, though, I've been going for just about 2 hours. I'm going to do a final thing where we build out the little structure, but I won't actually do any of the coding tonight. This was just game design and development. Yeah, it was very weird. So yeah. We fully fleshed out a config, really thought through all the game design that we want to and all the features that we want to include, and then built out a little plugin.yml, giving some notes to the server owner about like, hey, this is what's going to be required. These are some options. Built out some permissions. And then the last thing I want to do is actually build out a structure. And I think after that, we will go ahead and end the stream. I am just going to pull up my other plugin here for reference. Let's look there. What's with this whole org thing? This is weird. I don't want you. Where's delete? Here it is. Dev.rs. Pick your difficulty. Yeah. Yeah, of course, Denny. Happy to try to make that a little bit better for you, because holy cow, yeah, that's annoying. I don't play on Bedrock, so I didn't know any different. Hey, your if the oh, just let me rename it. Something. Cancel. Hey. I haven't even built any of the code yet, so why are you being so picky? I don't want you called main. Let me do it. Main command for pick your. Seriously? That's what you're complaining about? The one time the word main is used? No, don't do any of that. Thank you. Man, it was being picky. Okay. Take a little screen capture there. Okay. Let's take some nods from another plugin I am developing to build out the structure for this plugin. Here's a reference image. Little ping on Discord. What am I missing? Ah. It's like there's maintenance on paper. Okay. Here's a reference image. There we go. Commands, data, listeners, managers, placeholders, and utilities. Okay, I like it. Let's do new. This is where we get into the whole nonsense of package. I don't want the package, I just want. Man. Hold on here. Well, I guess I do want a package. New package. And we'll call this one. Oops. This one. Commands. Yeah, okay, okay. Sound. This one's data. Okay. Brain is getting a little fried here. Listeners. Managers. Placeholders. And utils. Making packages like a champ. Yeah, it took me a second there. I was like, how does this work? And then new Java class. Pick your difficulty. Man, reload. Set. And reset. And command info. And we'll just confer with the plugin OIML that we reload. Reload. Yes. Info. Allows the use of GUI. We probably need that one. Set. Yes. Reset. Yes. What about the command? Class. There. Commands for that too. Yep, it just missed one. I was pretty sure that would be needed. Okay, so yep, let's refer back to the plugin. We have a info command, which we've added a class for. We have a GUI command. We've got a class for that. We've got a set command, which we have for that. Reset, reload, and then a main difficulty. Yep, which is just no subcommand. Okay. Build out data now. Your difficulty storage. Pull down tracker. Oh. And brace reminder tracker. Yeah. Yep. I do want that. Then we have listeners. We're going to listen for when the player joins so we can make decisions based off of that. We have a set the rules listener. So what happens after the player accepts the rules? We need to know when they accepted it, so we need to listen for that. We have a reminder about grace time someone still has, and for when they click in the GUI. Okay. Then we have our different managers, handling all of our config values. Applying difficulty to player. sounds. And then actually the GUI itself. Our placeholders. Actually registering the placeholders. Placeholders themselves. And then all of our utilities. Formatting. Messages. Sound. Questions. Okay. That should be a pretty well flushed out structure that then we can build off of for actually making this plugin functional. So right now it's all empty files, but that's what we'll work on in the next stream, is actually starting to work on some of these. We have a really good base for what features we want to add. We have a really good base for the permissions. And now it's just, okay, let's make it happen. So I'm excited. I think this is going to be really, really cool. And I hope that you guys enjoy interfacing with it. Again, if you have ideas, feel free to leave them for me in chat on any of my streams. If you have an idea for a plugin of your own that you'd like to see me make, feel free to suggest that as well. There's a form that you can fill out. You can find that link here in stream. It's just the command !suggest. It'll give you the link to the Google Forms. Other than that, thanks for joining me. Hope you guys had fun. Hopefully we'll see you on the next stream. Take care, everybody.